Thank goodness for this fourth quarter because this could have been much worse than it could have been, or what should have been a belt in the ass. And I hate to use that quote because already a YouTuber used that, but you get what I'm trying to say. It should have been a blowout win for the Miami Heat. Instead, they were getting out-hustled, outmatched in the second and third quarter, which is an unacceptable game by the Miami Heat in the middle of the game. Unacceptable. But thank goodness for that fourth quarter, man, because this could have ended really differently. It could have been a win. I was expecting a win. They got the win. Or it could have been a really embarrassing loss, especially since the Golden State Warriors were without and the following, basically the entire starting lineup. Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, we can't forget about Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Al Horford. Those are the big starters. Really, the big starters for the Golden State Warriors. And even Jonathan Kuminga. Yet somehow we struggled by the bench, nonetheless. Their current stars, except for Podziemski, were the only ones did something in the starting role. Nobody else did anything in the starting role. The bench did their job. But like I said, thank God for that fourth quarter. Heat win 110-96 to the Golden State Warriors. Why am I not happy as I should? Because of what I just said. The second quarter, and especially the third quarter, unacceptable quarters. Unacceptable quarters. You're giving up points to players like Quentin Post, Buddy Hield, even Pat Spencer. Pat Spencer? Really? That's giving up points of all players? Pat Spencer. That's crazy. And I get he has a bright future with the Golden State Warriors. He has a bright future with them. But really? And sometimes that one 3-pointer, he just chucked it up and that made it in. That was when the shot clock was going off. But man, it's so frustrating to watch because as you guys know, they were still getting out rebounds, especially in the offensive rebounds. All right? Despite all this, they were getting out rebounds by 9. 19 to 14 offensive rebounds and 42 to 38 defensive rebounds. Despite Kel'el Ware actually hustling, boxing out, getting 16 rebounds. I mean, Kel'el Ware is doing all he can to get the rebounds. And he was, albeit, didn't score a lot of points. But as a rebounder, he did phenomenal. He was phenomenal under the paint, Kel'el Ware. So he was a -1. He was awesome. But he can't do everything by himself, so you had to have help. That help came from the returning Bam Adebayo, who coming off first return with 20 points with 7 rebounds. That is a good return, in my opinion. He has a +15 in his repertoire in this game. But how is it that we struggled against a very short-handed Golden State Warriors? That is beyond me. We should have blew them out. If you want my honest opinion. Games like this worries me because there's always a possibility of an upset and, frankly, an embarrassing fashion. It happened before. It wasn't going to be like tonight, but thankfully it didn't happen like that. But in the fourth quarter alone, Norman Powell and Bam Adebayo, they were explosive. Especially Norman Powell. Norman Powell was just awesome. The entire game, he scored 8 points. Fourth quarter alone, 17. That's phenomenal. I like to say over 17, which is probably right. I think that's some good math. But he was just awesome. He fights off the defenders for the N1. He was just incredible. He got the N1 in, needless to say. Norman Powell had an awesome fourth quarter. Bam Adebayo also had a pretty good fourth quarter. Everybody else was just struggling. They were struggling to get the easy buckets in. In fact, like I said, getting out rebounded, yeah, fine. But they were committing turnovers. Like, why are you committing this many turnovers against a pretty shorthanded Golden State team? And Golden State is capitalizing on our turnovers. They scored 34 points off the 14 turnovers from the Miami Heat. Not good at all. Not good at all. Podziemski, there we go, is the only starter that's actually scoring points. And you know, what's even more frustrating is when they get hot, every other game, they're throwing the ball away, committing fouls. Actually, no, that's the Heat problem. The Heat were committing way too many fouls. And this says Golden State committed 20 fouls and Miami was 17. It didn't feel like that. Miami was definitely fouling a lot more. It was undisciplined. It was just a mess. It was frustrating. It was absolutely frustrating to look at and just watch. It's just watching this. It's so infuriating, right? And then there was a technical foul for both teams. You know, Jaime Jaquez showing off, taunting at Spencer. And then those two get heated with each other. It looked like it was going to be some pushing and shoving, but there was no pushing and shoving. It was just like bench clear, trying to, get in the middle of it, saying, don't do it, don't do it. So it was a double tech, to say the least. They would eventually take the lead in the third quarter. And may I mind you this, ladies and gentlemen, may I mind you, the game started 20-4 Miami. 20-4. Yet, Golden State somehow got a run out of this. At that point, and my stupid self was thinking, we're going to obliterate them. We're going to blow them out. It did not happen that way. They end up going on a run, and they eventually take the lead in the third quarter. Second quarter was just uncomfortable to watch. Third quarter, it was really unsettling third quarter, as they would get the lead when it was 60, I want to say 65, actually 68-66 with Quentin Post. Pat Spencer is really the bench players really doing this stuff. And they captured their first lead in the game, and it was just so frustrating. At that moment, I was getting really heated, because why are we struggling against a very shorthanded Golden State team? Why? This makes no sense. No sense to struggle like this against a Golden State team. Fontecchio, I thought, was played really poorly. Fontecchio played poorly. Drew Smith, I thought he was doing a little bit too much. Khalil Ware, a rebounding machine he is. He's pretty good. Bam coming off injury, he was spot on. And then the fourth quarter, Norman Powell. Man, Norman Powell did the rest. He really did the rest, man. Fontecchio almost got a three. Well, actually, he did get a 3-point foul. He got all three. Khalil Ware with an amazing alley-oop dunk. Buddy Hield, and you can't forget about Buddy Hield. He's a veteran. It's just... and then Norman Powell got hot. There was a coach's challenge with the out-of-bounds from Steve Kerr. That challenge was unsuccessful. And Norman Powell was just exploding. He was exploding. And at the end, final score was 110-96 for the Miami Heat. Incredible performance in the fourth quarter. The Heat outscored the Warriors 98-22. So, while this is a nice victory, a nice fourth quarter, I'm still upset because it shouldn't come down to it. It should have ended a long ago. The Miami Heat underestimated the Warriors' depth. They underestimated it, they let their guard down, and they almost lost because of it. That's the problem. I wonder if Spo is going to be pissed off about the fact that we let our guards down throughout the game. And probably in the halftime. Most likely in the halftime. Because in the halftime, the game got a lot closer than it should. And then they eventually take the lead in the third quarter. But I wonder if he's still pretty upset about this despite the win. I would still be upset because we played a shorthanded Golden State Warriors. And I thought Jimmy Butler was going to come in and play this game. But he was out with an injury. Draymond Green out with an illness. Stephen Curry also out with the injury, which sucks, by the way. I really like Stephen Curry. I really do. Al Horford injured, so you have to take advantage of it. Eventually, they did in the fourth quarter, but you will love that early. You will love to do that much early in the game. So, dude, it's a heart attack type of thing, and I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't like the fact that they're getting out rebounds this many times, especially when they're shorthanded. We're getting out hustled, out rebounded, outmatched. Not so much outmatched, but so much with getting boxed out. Unacceptable. But in the end, Heat win 110-96 over the Golden State Warriors. Something that we should be happy with. I'm personally still upset about the performance. But a win is a win. We're 7-1 at home. And I'll take it. I'll take it as long as we got the win. That's all that matters, right? They say winning cures all, but you would love to have a better performance, especially if we're going up against Chicago Bulls. Especially if we're going up against Chicago Bulls on the road. So we're going to be on the road for, just a couple of games. We're back home on Monday. Our road record needs to improve. Our home record is good so far. The road games, they need to improve. And it could start in Chicago. It can't start in Chicago. It needs to in Chicago. Because this is a NBA Cup group play. And could this finally be the time that the Miami Heat could finally advance to Las Vegas for, the tourney game? We'll see what happens. All right. Let's go. Excuse me. Woo. All right, let's go over the box score. There we go. Trace Jackson-Davis for the Golden State Warriors. Scored 8 points with two field goals, 4 for 7 in free throws, with 11 rebounds and a block. Guy Santos, is it? I'm sorry if I got it wrong. So Santos with just 4 points with a 3-pointer and 1 free throw, committing 2 turnovers, 1 block and 6 rebounds. Moses Moody with 9 points, with 3 for 12 in field goals, with the 3-pointer, 2 for 2 in free throws, with 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal and a block. Brandon Pajemski, if I said it correctly, I don't think I did. I apologize. He has 20 points. He's the only one that really had double digits in this starting role. 6 for 19 in field goals, 2 for 7 in 3-pointers, 6 for 7 in free throws, with 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Will Richard, 0 points, just 3 rebounds and a turnover. So he did nothing. He literally did nothing and played 18 minutes. That gotta be coached properly. But off the bench, Quentin Post with 19 points, with 3 for 7 in 3-pointers, 8 for 13 in field goals, with 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Buddy Hield with 18 points, 4 for 15 in 3-pointers. Man, he shot that many 3-pointers and he didn't. And he missed 11 of them. Crazy. 7 for 20 actually in field goals, with 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, and 2 steals. And Pat Spencer with 11 points, with 5 for 13 field goals, 1 for 4 in 3-pointers, with 8 rebounds, 13 assists, and 2 steals. He has a double-double. Could have had a triple-double with 2 more, but that did not happen. Gary Payton with 7 points. Miami Heat, unlike Golden State starters, our starters did pretty decent. Especially Norman Powell and Bam Adebayo. Andrew Wiggins were able to pick up the pace, but I thought he would have been a little better. But he does have 17 points, which is pretty good to me. 2 for 4 in 3-pointers, 7 for 16 in field goals, 1 for 2 in free throws, with 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and a block. Welcome back, Bam Adebayo with 20 points, with 7 for 13 in field goals. He has 3 3-pointers in the game out of 4, 3 for 3 in free throws, with 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. Not bad. Norman Powell with 25 points, with 10 for 14 in field goals. Explosive fourth quarter. 4 for 7 3-pointer, one more in the paint, plus the N1. I don't know why I said one more in the paint. I meant to say plus the N1 with 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Davion Mitchell with just 5 points. He has a 3-pointer, one more in the paint. There we go. With 1 rebound, 6 assists. He is just becoming a playmaking machine, Davion Mitchell. He knows where to throw the ball, pass the ball, get the assist up. He is one of the best assist players in the league right now. And I'm all for it. Pelle Larsson could have had a much better game. Way better game. He only has 10 points. 3 for 11 in field goals with the 3-pointer. 3 for 4 in free throws with 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. And that's their starters. Their bench, Simone Fontecchio with 10 points, 2 for 8 in 3-pointers, 4 for 5 free throws with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Their 2 field goals are the 2 3-pointers. And Jaime Jaquez with 12 points, with 4 for 12 in field goals, 4 for 5 free throws, with 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Not bad for Jaime Jaquez. You would have loved a lot more from him. But he does have a plus 12, so that's enough for me. But, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you enjoy this victory? I would have enjoyed more if it was executed a lot better than it did in the second and third quarter, especially the third quarter. But we got the win. That's all that matters. And they're 7-1 to start the season at home. That is an NBA Finals type of season for the Miami Heat. If they could get healthier and then play a lot better, and for the games like this where they're more prepared, the league is in a whole lot of trouble, and it's going to be so exciting. I probably underestimated the capability of the Miami Heat. It really is, and this is without Nikola Jovic and Tyler Hero too. Tyler Hero's return is nearing, but hopefully Nikola Jovic could come back on Friday against Chicago Bulls. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, let's go Heat. That's going to do it for this video. If you liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content, because Miami TVG has your back. And when he does, he'll be right there with the entertainment you deserve. This is Miami TVG sign off, folks. Good night, everybody.